You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Folks, the playoff season is here, and the only thing better than the game day predictions are the foods that come with them. Introducing Tums Fantasy Football Pool, brought to you by Tums, America's #1 antacid brand, and DraftKings. Each week leading up to the big game, turn football into foodball by building your best game day plate for a shot at winning a share of $40,000 in cash prizes. Inspired by game day bites and tailgate treats, join the Tums Foodball action during this playoff season's most heartburn-inducing times. Visit DraftKings.com/TumsFoodball between January 6th and February 9th to enter for free and select your game day plate before the start of each playoff round. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at DraftKings.com/TumsFoodball. When you feel the heat of the game, don't let the heartburn keep you on the sidelines. Try Tums Chewy Bites with a tasty outer shell and soft center for fast relief of heartburn, acid indigestion, and upset stomach. Check out Tums Gummy Bites, featuring a soft and easy-to-chew format for fast relief of occasional heartburn, acid indigestion, sour stomach, and upset stomach. Both available at Amazon, Target, and other major retailers nationwide. And for more heartburn relief fun, be sure to follow Tums at Tums Official on Instagram and TikTok.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Shadow Show.
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 Shadow in it.
Shadow in it.
I'd like to discuss this with Andrew Hawkins because maybe he can give me some advice on my frustration. I don't know why it is that I have not been able to get a take off the ground, even though I have spent carefully the last couple of weeks trying to get a take off the ground and have worked, I'm going to say 35 years shaping takes and knowing how to get them off the ground.
All right. I thought it was this particular take for 35 years.
Not this one, but it covers about 35 years worth of ground in my career where I know how to say things that will get attention, and I don't understand why me saying on various podcasts and carefully, because I haven't gotten all out there and had the full take, but the take has been that Jokic is a better offensive basketball player than Michael Jordan.
Okay, yeah, I'm shocked that hasn't taken off the ground. Wow, that is...
I also don't think it's shocking.
Yeah, I think it is shocking.
It's kind of shocking.
I think it's shocking because I think everybody would understand, like, more unguardable, even more dominant.
Yeah.
But better offensive player, I feel like.
Well, how do you define what's a better offensive player? Because
statistics?
Just because he doesn't take guys off the dribble and pull up on them like Michael Jordan does.
That's how I define it.
How about the facts? How about instead of your eyes and what you think and the mythology, how about just the numbers?
Okay, but you're going up against the greatest myth in sports.
And honestly, I mean, you're the most offensive thing in this conversation right now.
Oh, wow.
So it goes you, MJ, and then Jokic.
Yeah, no one goes through the day and sees someone that's really good at flip cup and says, man, you're the Jokic of flip cup.
Not yet. Not yet, but you've seen what he's doing. You talk about a mythological figure. He will be after he retires. Did you see how bored he looked after he hit that 66-footer last night? Just an absolute savant. And Michael Jordan was, not a savant as well, but I don't think he was this complete.
He needs 5 more titles. There's no way that body holds up for 5 more titles.
I'm trying to give context to, the take. And if you look at the stats, okay, I give you that. You have to use your eyeballs as well, though, because also Wemby is probably going to take over. And Wemby's just not as fun because he's 8 feet tall. Jokic has that going, too. It's not as fun when you have a clear physical advantage for what you're doing in the space that you're in.
I just find it really funny that you guys are arguing Myth, fun, and memories against facts. Myth, fun, and memories against. Look at the offense. Look at the rebounds. Look at the assists. Look at the efficiencies. Look at the scoring.
And let me be clear. I don't disagree with you. In my mind, the most unstoppable basketball player I've ever seen is Jokic. We're wrong. We're wrong. No one's copping the Jokic shoes. I get the IG ads all the time. No one goes to the gym and says, you know what? I'm going to play like Jokic today. It's just not. Like, Michael Jordan was a cultural phenomenon.
I think he might be onto something, though, because I think people are going to pull a Jokic by just doing something amazing and looking absolutely bored about it. Like, it's no big deal. I do this all the time.
The league is dying on his watch. Like, Michael Jordan rescued the NBA.
I feel like I'm in a twilight zone.
And brought it to unprecedented heights. You think Jokic is going to be in Space Jam?
I don't think I've ever been in a room with 5 people who agree with this take.
Whoa.
Sorry. Okay, Roy, my bad. Okay.
Well, I don't like
you
what's
didn't
going on
speak.
here.
I was taking your silence as alignment.
I shouldn't have to say anything.
Okay, then we're on the same page.
Thank you. I don't like what's happening here.
I'm just saying it sounds like a wild take. Also, you got to look at the variables. The numbers may be better. Is the NBA the same? Do they play the same way?
Well, that's an important one.
Are the rules the same?
That's an important one.
Could Jokic do that?
Don't tell me you're one of those guys that say Jordan would average 45 in today's game. Because
I'm not that. I'm not going to say Jordan would average 45. 44.6-ish?
I
12 rebounds and 12 assists? No.
I like the idea that Hawk thinks that there's a physical thing you could do to Jokic that would stop him from scoring. That fouling him, the guy's arms are bleeding for the last 5 years, but Hawk has something that someone's going to do. But unless you allow the other players to play with brooms, to hit him with brooms, I don't know what you're talking about in terms of something is going to stop that physically. What? I remember when Shaq was some form of unstoppable this, and then you were like, how can anything be that strong? And then Yao Ming appeared, and Shaq couldn't move Yao Ming. What do you have doing anything to Jokic that slows him down? They are already fouling him.
I don't know. Put on the Belmont on one of the TVs, maybe?
Two words for you. Bill Lambier.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Andrew Hawkins strolled in very casually and just seconds before we started, so I didn't get to ask him this off air, and I'll do so clumsily on air and risk the response. Would you like to, or are you available Sunday? The reason that we have a skeletal crew today is because we're going to be working Sunday during the games. We're going to be live streaming. What are you going to be doing during the games on Sunday?
Watching them will be what I've planned.
All right, so I'm inviting you. If you'd like to spend time with us here, we like having you around. I'm inviting you now, and it can be a surprise.
That.
You don't have to commit to it.
Okay.
Are you going to come?
Didn't sound like you did, Dan.
It did. Well,
sounds like I'm being put on the spot.
Well,
I used to get in trouble for this. Like, if I asked my mother something in front of other people where she had to give an answer, I knew it was hell to pay when I got home. So if I'm like, hey, Mom, Timmy said I can come over. Can I come? Or Timmy wants to come to our house. And she's like, the house isn't clean. There's no dinner. I didn't go grocery. And she's like, yeah, she can come.
I'll take it a step further. That's a relationship. Like, you're in trouble if you like. That happens to me all the time. Anthony's on the phone with somebody trying to make plans, and he's asking me on speakerphone. Knows damn well I don't want to go to this place, but is putting extra pressure. Do not ask me questions in public.
That makes it. I do want to come. I do want to say that, but the fact that you asked me on spot, that you would have got your ass whipped in my household.
Well, I wouldn't have asked you on the spot if your mother had taught you to be much earlier to work than you were.
Oh.
What?
Wow. You think you're helping your cause now?
Goodness gracious. My Sunday just filled up, one. I just forgot that I had a prior engagement that I need to get to. Number two, I showed video evidence that I was behind a car accident in more than enough time to get here. Also, traffic, one of the worst things Miami has to offer.
Man.
I would love to make a list of best things and worst things that South Florida has to offer. traffic might be number one.
Let's do
on
this.
Worst.
We can actually do this. Let's put this together because these things, I don't know how long you've lived in South Florida, but these things have changed.
Well, I would love Hawk's perspective on it as a man that recently relocated to South Florida. So the new perspective is certainly one that I would welcome.
The traffic, and I know this is empirical now. People will say that empirically they will find you the facts that suggest that Miami is worse on traffic now than Los Angeles is.
Bad.
That it's globally bad on traffic because we are that overcrowded with people who want, more freedom is what they're arguing.
Yeah.
A whole lot of people, more freedom and more sunshine.
A lot of sunshine. Traffic is terrible. And as someone who moved from Los Angeles to South Florida, it feels worse than it did in Los Angeles. And maybe it's because you assume that the traffic is there in Los Angeles, or there's still some version where you can predict the traffic in some way. Here, it is completely unpredictable. Like, completely unpredictable. Like, it might take me, who, with no traffic, I live probably 31 minutes from the studio. It might take me anywhere from an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 55 minutes on any given morning.
I don't think it's completely unpredictable. When the kids are back in school, the traffic is totally bad around rush hour from 3 to 7 and from 7 to 9 a.m.
My number one thing, my number one worst thing that South Florida has to offer right now is traffic.
I can't get over the fact that he invoked your mom's name, or not name, but your mother in this. Like, how is his mother supposed to help him with traffic?
He started with his mother. He said, first of all, he learned something in his very early years that you still haven't learned in your 40s and that you haven't taught the people around you to know, which is don't ask questions that I don't want to answer in public. He learned this when
doing a bit right now? What is this?
What is the bit that I'm doing?
Like, you're just like going at people's character today.
Hey, I welcome it. Because my mom will also whip your ass too. So that's the thing about it. She is not. It's not just a me thing.
What kind of disciplinarian? What kind of disciplinarian was she?
She was tough, man. She was tough because it wasn't. She wouldn't really whip my ass, but she was a very tough mom because it was very important to her. She had a lot of kids, and she worked a lot, and so the iron fist needed to rule in moments where she wasn't around. So she was very like, yo, I'm setting the boundaries, and if you cross the boundaries, there will be hell to pay. And so the idea of the hell to be paid, it did wonders. It kept us disciplined.
But what was the hell to be paid if there wasn't if it wasn't physical? And all these years later, you're still talking about how it is you used to talk
Stop
through your
putting
teeth.
my man on the spot.
No, it's so when you're parenting, there's like, I take my son for example. He does not fear me at all. And it is the worst thing in the world. Not because for me, but it means that everybody else, like when he's at school and it's like, oh no, if I forget my badge, and it's like his world falls down. And I'm like, who gives a damn what they say to you at school? I do not care about. If I tell you it's okay, there's not a teacher, a principal, a coach, anything that can do anything to you. And it frustrates me because mine was the opposite. Because in my mind, my mom was like, yo, you don't, as long as she doesn't find out, we are completely okay. And because of that, I can operate in a world where I don't give a damn if the boss says you need to learn to get here earlier. I come when I damn well please, Dan.
That's clear.
You know? And so because of that, it's allowed me to find myself in the world. And so that's what my mom was. She was just very good. And I think it was just, she was in charge.
Times have changed, man. People aren't afraid of authority anymore. When I was a kid, I'll just say it, my dad used to whoop my ass. Like belt at whatever tool he had, used to whoop my ass. And even in third grade, there was this teacher, I don't know if she's with us anymore, probably not, Miss Harrison, thank you for everything. Like she would make troubled, like kids who got in trouble, stand in the middle of the room holding a book in each hand until their shoulders were on fire, crying. and then if that didn't work, or if you did, she would just take you to the restroom, drop your pants, give you a smack on the ass. This was a public school.
Yeah, no, that's facts. We had community whoopings. Like basically, my parents didn't have to whoop me. It was okay for the neighbors to whoop me.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was like, oh, he was misbehaving, and so
what?
Yes. Like
community.
Yes, so you got beat twice. You got beat by the neighbors, and then your parents beat you because
I think his parents did not.
I think that was the thing. Is it was like everybody else who my friends and stuff would also get they would get their asses whipped, and they would all talk about my mom like, oh yeah, you don't want it with her. And I think the fear of like, well, if they look at you that way, I don't even want to know what you did to get that street cred. So I'm going to make sure I stay in line.
This episode probably should come with a trigger warning. But also, I went to a Baptist kindergarten, elementary school, Westwood. This wasn't that long ago. I had a principal, Miss McCraney. She had a glass eye and toes that would curl up for whatever reason. She still wore open-toed shoes. And she had a paddle in her office that had holes in it so it was more aerodynamic. So there wouldn't be wind resistance as she spanked your ass.
This is a triggering. I also went to a school with
this was
paddling.
after Hurricane Andrew.
I mean, many of us are old enough to remember when the nuns did it. That was something that was pretty popular. I think Izzy might get a $50 fine there. We need to do research on his third grade teacher and find out if indeed she is dead because he just killed her. And if she's not, that's a $50 Venmo fine.
Man, she looked pretty old in third grade, and that was a long time ago.
The Venmo fine bucket is presented by Venmo. By the way, we got a total right now. The total in the bucket is $49.
Still seems low.
It does.
Well, Greg Cody is not paying.
I mean, Lucy killed somebody, and that's a $50 fine.
Yes. Also,
minor penalty, 2 minutes for not listening.
It's a delayed penalty for Roy. I'm sorry. He said his mother did not hit him. He said that very clearly. And then you said he was getting community whoopings after he said, I wouldn't get it at home. I'd get it from the neighbors.
Can I give him a pass? I think he read between the lines. I said my mom didn't whip my ass, which is different than not getting hit. That's like, there's levels to.
That's fine. He's gone, and
the whoopings.
The penalty is delayed, and he's got to leave
sorry,
the room.
Roy, I tried to save you, bro.
and I don't know. You're doing.
I tried to save him.
Yeah, but that's not. You're just a coach on the field arguing a call. We have instant replay now. The ruling is final.
And we have the Venmo fine bucket, which is presented by Venmo.
He also said that.
I know. I was told to say it again.
All right. Who else would be presenting the Venmo fine bucket other than Venmo? I thought that was self-explanatory.
I don't know. You see some of these pregame shows. You have the Dodge Ram pregame show presented by Built by the Home Depot. Like, they're all over the place.
All right. Well, can you guys please turn the penalty box, turn the heat up in the penalty box? Can you please make it a sauna? Can you make, instead of him just sitting coolly next to the ice, refreshed and stuff, let's make it a sauna and let's make him sweat a little bit.
He's got to take clothes off for that, right? You don't want him sweating in his clothes.
Well, he should be in a towel, yes. Who goes, what do you wear in a sauna? What do the rest of you wear in a sauna? You go totally nude? I will not do that.
Last time I was there, I was in Europe. Everybody was nude. It's a thing.
Oh, okay. I don't do saunas.
I go fully clothed.
Put it on the poll.
I've been hit on in my sauna before, and it's just like ever since then. Oh, what does that tattoo mean? It says Tropical Park, my guy.
Do you wear the nipple pasties? Do you wear the nipple covers on there?
I take them off before there, but I'm presently, don't send me because I'm presently wearing them under a thermal. So that'll tell you a little bit about my situation.
Okay. A lot happening here.
I will wear a collared shirt in a sauna. I am not doing nude in a sauna. Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Are you doing nude in the sauna or are you doing a towel?
I did. We were in this very group sauna situation. We do aromatherapy and stuff, and there's just a lot of people in there. And right outside the sauna, the walls are glass, is a cold plunge pool and a hot tub, right? I like saunas. They're very helpful health-wise. But for some reason, this sauna was burning my nose after 12 minutes. I had to get out of there. I got out of there, and I went into the cold plunge pool completely naked, came out of the cold plunge pool, and everybody in the sauna was clearly facing my direction. And I'm just like, man, if I were less cold than this, I'd be worried about shrinkage and stuff. Nah, it's freezing. I'm getting to that hot tub.
I just don't see the need to be nude in a community full of people, but you've lived in locker rooms all your life. I remember in high school, my high school didn't have doors on the bathrooms on the stalls because they didn't want
drugs.
Yeah, kids doing blow or whatever in the stalls.
Ooh, man.
By the way,
good old Miami.
Appreciate the setup. Can we show Roy chilling there with the Nicolas Cage pillow in the sauna? Because we have a sponsor for this sauna. Enhance your physical and mental wellness routines with Redwood Outdoors. Take advantage of special savings today. Visit redwoodoutdoors.com and use code Dan to save $175. That is a huge promo code.
His hat looks like it is has been green screened, and he is now presently taking off clothes. I don't know how nude he will be by the end of this segment.
Hey, Jeremy,
Yes, Mike?
Have you ever had a fireside conversation during a football Sunday during the winter?
Sure. We don't have a lot of fireplaces down here, but I've had the premise of it.
I wish I could, but it's South Florida. When it gets down to the 60s, we're like, we're bundled up, but certainly no fireplaces. Still too warm for that. But we do have our football Sundays. And one thing that always makes football Sundays good, and I know you've had plenty of experience in your life with this, Miller time.
Oh, yeah.
Miller Lite makes the winter better. It makes football Sundays better. It makes even hanging out around you better.
Thanks, Mike. That was kind.
I appreciate that. You're my friend. When I have a Miller Lite in my hand, pretty much everybody is my friend because we are like-minded. Because we like beer that actually tastes like beer. Oh, and now, the new year, it's the perfect time to have a Miller time. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. People out there, I want you to listen to me. And Jeremy, you too. Because you know, it hits just different than other light beers. The original light beer since 1975, and still the very best one. Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
If you're a pet parent like me, you know about Chewy. When they say they have everything you need to keep your pet healthy and happy, they're not messing around. Oh, look at this good boy and good girl over here taking an early morning siesta after their breakfast with the food we got from Chewy. Hassle-free. With auto-ship. To keep Dopey happy, Chewy offers over 100,000 products from brands my pets love. At prices I love too. Foods, treats, toys, beds, you name it. They've got it. To keep Izzy healthy, Chewy's got me covered with pet prescriptions, insurance, telehealth vet visits, and even vet clinics rolling out nationwide. My favorite feature? Auto ship. I never run out of essentials like food or litter. And I can update or cancel anytime, so no guilt trips from Dopey or Izzy. And everything ships right to your door in just 1 to 2 days. Oh, and Chewy isn't just for dogs and cats. They've got birds, fish, reptiles, and more covered too. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. Right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com/Dan. That's chewy.com/Dan to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. Chewy.com/DAN. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. Hey there, wellness warriors. If you're like me, you've given a lot of thought to how to improve your health and wellness routine this year. I've started stretching more, do a little mindfulness and meditation every day, try to clear my mind, make my body feel right. Take your health routine to the next level with the magic of contrast therapy. Meet our new amazing sponsor, Redwood Outdoors. They're making it easy to bring the benefits of saunas and cold plunges right to your backyard. A Redwood Outdoors backyard sauna seats 2 to 8 people, where you can relax, unwind, and enjoy all the benefits like reduced muscle tension, improved sleep, and glowing skin. And it doesn't stop there. Redwood Outdoors' invigorating cold plunge helps to boost circulation, sharpen your focus, and leave you feeling absolutely revitalized. Whether it's detoxing deeper, reducing inflammation, or connecting with loved ones in moments of peace, Redwood Outdoors has you covered. Enhance your physical and mental wellness routines with Redwood Outdoors. Take advantage of special savings today. Visit redwoodoutdoors.com, use code DAN to save $175. That's redwoodoutdoors.com, code DAN to save $175 on your order. redwoodoutdoors.com, code DAN.
Dan Le Batard.
Sugar daddies. These things, I'm telling you.
I love sugar daddies.
They get stuck in your teeth. Like you can't chew them. They're like impossible to chew. They are impossible to chew.
Every day.
Stugotz.
Yeah,
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I do want to circle back around with something that I said on the Shadow Show, because whatever you think of my commentary, this is something we've talked about over the years a lot. Like so many sports arguments are, my brother and I, when we were very young, we used to, my mother tells this story, we would get into an argument fighting over a single hair, a single human hair. And so many sports arguments feel like we're arguing about the difference between something that is very comparable. Mm-hmm. Whatever you think of Michael Jordan and Jokic, whatever you want that argument to be on who's the better offensive player, whatever the difference is, it ain't much. Like, You can like high flying. You guys are making all these arguments. Cultural phenomenon, myth, fun. You're right about all of them. Michael Jordan is all these things. He'll be undefeated forever because our memories will not allow him to lose this argument. But if I put it in front of you, and Jokic is saying right now, this is the best basketball I've ever played, and the only reason he's not going to win MVPs is the same reason Michael Jordan didn't win them, is because they were bored with voting for Michael Jordan, so they'd give one occasionally to Karl Malone. But Jokic should get the MVP every year because those numbers, like, it's just an insanity. It's Shaq shooting three-pointers better than everybody.
And it's not just that. It's the elements of everybody else's game that you've seen these highlights of over the years. It's Magic Johnson, no-look, perfect over-the-head bounce passes, which you don't ever see. When we go back and we look at these highlights 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be more awed somehow than we are now. And I still argue, I said this on the Shadow Show, part of it is he's playing in Denver, because if he was playing somewhere in Southern California, New York, Chicago, wherever else, you would probably speak more highly of him, even more so. I think, as you said, in terms of the boredom of MVP voters, if they give this to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which I believe the voters will do, and they have their sort of classic reasons as to why, I think it's one of the worst cases of voter fatigue for an MVP than I've ever seen.
I don't mind any of those arguments. And I patterned myself an NBA casual. Jokic is boring.
Man,
watching.
So boring. He just doesn't
boring,
have it,
and I don't care if he was in South Beach, L.A., any big market. It's just not an exciting watch.
It's so interesting that so many people say that, because I disagree, because what I'm watching is so confusing to my mind, this kind of mastery with what I know all around him are the athletes you prefer to watch. All fast twitch, skying, flying dunks, and everything else. I prefer to watch those too, but the mastery is so graceful that it strikes me as a juxtaposition that is aesthetically pleasing, that I've got this giant loaf of bread shaped like a cement mixer just rolling through the paint, but also can shoot threes better than anybody.
But also, he's bored by it. Like,
exactly.
If he himself is bored by it, how can I get drawn in?
Entertainment.
I'm not disagreeing with his style of play. His style of play is very aesthetically pleasing. You don't see a guy that big be that skilled, but he is
Are the
boring.
Chiefs boring? Because I was going to make this argument about winners in the NFL anyway, right? Winners do the boring stuff over and over and over again, the things that they know are going to win. And not everybody does that. Jokic does whatever it takes. He's so bored by it. He's like, oh, it's a double team. Okay, fine. Here's it. It's just obvious. It comes to him so easily. And then the skill with all that shot making is incredible. And yeah, of course he's playing the best basketball of his career, shooting 47% from three to make up for Russell Westbrook, who doesn't bring any floor spacing there. It's absolutely crazy. And I'm telling you, you will be more impressed by this 20 years from now than you are now.
I don't find the Chiefs boring. And this is probably going to drive some people crazy. Patrick Mahomes does not bore me, and Patrick Mahomes is probably a great comp for Jokic, because you tune in any game, you might see something that you've never seen before at that position. Patrick Mahomes is cool. He's a superstar. He's engaging. He draws the audience in ways that Jokic clearly doesn't. And also, Patrick Mahomes is always there in the end. Jokic, we've had this conversation about him for 3 years. He's won one title. He's got to be there in the end.
Well, that's another thing. I think, as opposed to sort of the thing we did to Peyton Manning, the things we did to Aaron Rodgers, hey, you need to win another one, I'm of the opinion that if Jokic doesn't win 2 or more championships, all of his teammates are going to live the rest of their lives regretting that they didn't do it for him, thinking of themselves as failures, because how good do you have to be as the leader of
Which
the
is
team?
crazy, because Jokic won't give a damn forever.
He'll be at Aqueduct betting on race 7.
I want to talk about his teammates in a second, but I would argue, Hawk, that Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City this year have been boring.
Yeah.
I don't like watching Patrick Mahomes, this version of him throwing for 177 yards, 300-yard games. You're grandfathering in whatever that excitement is. I don't like watching him throw for 117 of 177 yards to Travis Kelce.
Yeah, but they've had a lot of one-score games, and every one-score game they turn to Patrick Mahomes. Sometimes they turn to their defense and they make plays, and Patrick Mahomes is going to do something on that final drive. I understand this is the most boring incarnation, probably the most frustrating, and the first time that I've really felt Chiefs fatigue. That guy's just special.
And they are boring, and not because I don't think they play boring. I don't think you would be any more excited about Patrick Mahomes throwing for 250 plus every game. It's boring because, okay, you're the best. We get it. We got it years ago.
No, I don't think it's droning the way Pete Sampras is. I'm looking at it and I'm like, your receivers stink. Like
That's not true, though.
I mean, their receivers
They
are
have the best tight end in NFL history.
Their tight end is great.
He's there.
The tight end is great. Their receivers are not. Like those are all below average receivers, all of them.
I don't think they're below average.
Statistically,
I
they have
disagree
guys
with
healthy
that.
right now.
They have guys healthy. I think right now they're. But I think last year the receivers were, and that was like the exciting part of like, how are you going to figure this one out, Mahomes? And he did. I think they're a step up this year. They've battled injuries, but I don't think they're like that pedestrian. They're 15-1, and we never talk about them.
That's what I'm saying about
Mahomes
Nikola
is going
Jokic.
for a three-peat, and we never talk about it.
I like how
it
you're
is
not counting
boring.
the Broncos loss either.
Yeah, don't count it. Don't even. It wasn't even played.
But
that
were
wasn't
these super
real?
exciting? Were these super exciting historically? Hopkins and Hollywood Brown, who is now healthy, right? These are
fast?
exciting receivers.
Were these fast?
That's exciting. Hollywood Brown is fast.
Go look at his numbers. His production is a below average
The way
receiver.
that they use him is fun. Pacheco is fun to watch because of his running cell that very few people in the league can replicate. Like
Maybe I'm
there yet.
spoiled from seeing what their offense has been under Mahomes. Like this
when
is
he
not.
was a rookie on a rookie deal and they could pay everybody. When you make $500 million, you gotta win with people who aren't A-level talent. And the fact that he still can, it looks boring. It looked boring with Tom Brady doing the same thing. I'm saying that they're good receivers, but it's going to look like that when you have a guy that's eating up your salary cap the way he is. And the fact that he's still able to do it is what makes him great.
But we're arguing, or you're arguing, that
fatigued by
Nikola
it.
Jokic is doing the equivalent of 3-yard dump-offs every time, and he's not. He's doing what you say Patrick Mahomes does, figures out everything the defense throws at him, and sometimes it's spectacular.
I didn't make the comp to Patrick Mahomes. I think you did.
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did. But I'm saying Patrick Mahomes, we're bored by his greatness. I'm saying I bored watching Jokic because there is no flair, because he's not super quick twitch, because he's not out athleticing, like he's doing things that people at his size we haven't seen. But when you watch it, it is not exciting the way that we've been taught to be excited about people playing basketball. That's why Michael Jordan has that kind of thing over him, is because we had never seen somebody move like that on a basketball court.
What about Larry Bird?
Also boring.
Woo!
I'm sorry.
These white people mad at you.
I'm 38.
I don't remember him.
I didn't grow up watching Larry Bird. When I watch him athletically, it does not strike me.
He was
as
cocky,
super.
though. No. I think
It's a Libetard siren.
Mahomes draws you in because of his passion for the game, too. And there is none from Jokic. Like, Mahomes has got the cool hair.
He
the
wants
cool
to go,
sunglasses,
and
the
Jokic is he's an incredible basketball player. It's just not exciting to watch.
I detect a slight bias here.
No bias,
I
Who
hold
could
on.
argue that
Hold on.
Jokic is
Hold
like
on.
fun?
Hold on. I'm going to argue it, and I will continue to argue it because when I see things that don't have a precedent.
But he's not having fun.
Okay, he doesn't get to decide what's fun for me. He gets to decide what's fun
I
for
understand.
him.
I guess there are
I'm
comics
just
that
giving
deadpan
you
and
my
it's
opinion
entertaining.
on what Carl Anthony Towns. I'm good. I don't like to watch Carl
I
Anthony
think
Towns.
you just
bro.
threw that in there because I saw your bias, and you
absolutely
decided to
not.
go
He's more
Dominican.
You asked me two players.
I didn't bring up Larry Bird. You volunteered that Larry Bird was boring.
Woo!
Woo!
We have video evidence. You just said this. Why would I bring up Larry Bird? You know how far down on my totem pole? Like to get to basketball players, you think Larry Bird?
I don't know why you
think
brought
I'm
up
going to
Larry
go
Bird.
from Jokic to Larry Bird?
I don't know why you brought up Larry Bird, but I got an inkling. I got a clue why you brought him up.
Man, you're bringing up the Sharks, not me, man. You're the one bringing up the Great Whites. I didn't bring those up.
I brought up one Great White, then you brought up another Great White, and you say both of the Great Whites are dull.
All right, now
Technically, I brought him up.
Let's
I
go
brought
to the
him up.
challenge.
Hawk
No.
is the one who said he was boring, though.
Put them on. I'd like to throw a challenge flag and replay the clip of who brought up Larry Bird.
Okay, you're asking the video team to get something there that they might not be able to get quickly. All right, hold on. They're going to go. All right, look, I understand that you're spoiled and you're used to just showing up at a TV place and getting whatever you want. This is not the worldwide leader in sports.
Clip now, please.
Okay, they're looking for it. I promise you. And I see you slinking away. So Larry Bird is boring now. He's a
boring athlete to me. Yes, he does not move in a way where I'm like, oh shoot.
Can you guys just get me, because I'd like to do some measurements on this. Hawk obviously knows a great deal more football than I do, certainly knows a million times more about how to be a receiver than I do. But when the Chiefs receivers' numbers are put in front of me, all I see is below average numbers. Mm-hmm. That's all I see. So you're telling me that they're not below average receivers, but their production says they're below, I think says that they're below average receivers, all of them. When go get me DeAndre Hopkins, and Mike is right. Hollywood Brown is supposed to make a difference, but I don't trust him at all. Yeah, he's fast. They got speed, but they don't play like an offense that has speed. They play like a defense that has speed.
You want 9 routes for Patrick Mahomes.
No,
He'll give you 9 routes.
I want more than 200 yards a game from one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Okay, well, one 60-yard reception and a receiver that's capable of giving you that adds to the excitement.
Give me all their 60-yard receptions this year, and I will tell you why it is they're not exciting. Because I don't believe they're a big play. They're not a big play offense anymore.
But that was a draw to get Hollywood Brown. Like, come here, prove it year, and increase your value. And then he had the medical issue.
I am talking about the receiving unit as it stands now is an above average unit to me. For what their roles are, you're not going to have a single person who is, okay, this is a number one receiver. He has 1,200 yards. He's whatever. You have Travis Kelce. You have DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy. To me, that is an above average core because you have a young gadget guy who can stretch the field. He's one of the fastest in the league. You have Hollywood Brown who plays the slot and allows Xavier Worthy to be in his true position. DeAndre Hopkins is just as good as a possession receiver as he's been in that role. And you have Travis Kelce, who is the best tight end in the league.
You don't think I can form the argument? I'm taking Kelce out of the equation, but you don't think I can form the argument that that's the worst group of receivers left in the playoffs of all of the
Buffalo.
teams? I like
the receivers too.
And I like them over Commander. So no, I don't think you can make the argument that they're at worst they're 3. They're likely number 2.
I would love to give that receiving core to Josh Allen. And I'm the biggest Khalil Shakir guy that there possibly is. And also, he's on the IR, but Rashee Rice is also a part of that unit. They got talent now. Last year, fair. And Rashee Rice hadn't come online. But they've got some talent around him, and now they're all getting healthy with the exception of Rashee Rice. Mm-hmm. Is that still a thing, by the way? When he first got hurt, they were like, he could if they make a deep run.
Can't I make the argument, though, that they have specific skills, not, as Dan is saying, not complete wide receivers, not great wide receivers, where their amazing quarterbacks are taking advantage of those specific skills. And so I'm with Dan here. Like Xavier Worthy, he's fast. Yes, he's not a complete receiver yet. I will take advantage of what he can do because I'm, that offense and I'm Patrick Mahomes. Same thing with Josh Allen. I don't need a stud wide receiver. I can buy enough time out there to just let anybody get open and make that person, get a bunch of yards. It's the quarterbacks taking advantage of those guys, no?
Yes, you have the quarterback who can make the most out of their abilities. But even when you are drafted in the position that these guys are drafted in, like you're drafted there because you have a certain amount of tangibles that other people don't have, right? The Xavier Worthys, the Hollywood Browns, obviously DeAndre Hopkins is who he is, as well as Travis Kelce. That speaks for itself. But they are drafted in positions to say, okay, this guy is above the rest in his tangibles, and everything else that happens throughout the situation, what quarterback you have, what organization will determine where you go from there. Just that fact alone, that you're sitting there with 2 first-rounders that were drafted, in the last 4 to 5, 6 years or whatever, like they have an ability above most other receivers.
Fair enough, but not unlike the argument you guys are making with Michael Jordan. When you say tangibles, to me, the most tangible is what's the production? Not where were you drafted, not how high was your jump at the combine, not how fast you are, because I know their receivers are fast. Yeah, Worthy's fast. I don't know who'd win a race between Worthy and Hollywood Brown, but they're 2 of the fastest receivers in the league, and the production doesn't indicate that. Hollywood Brown has a ton of drops. Now, we should put him off to the side because we haven't even gotten to see what he would look like in Kansas City, but when he had an MVP for his quarterback, He was fine. He's a deep threat. But he's a limited receiver. Like he's a one-dimensional receiver.
His one dimension is I'll catch a 45-yard bomb.
That's correct. Look up for me, please. Just look up for me. Offenses, big plays, and give me. However, give me. Does Kansas City have as many touchdown as long as Saquon Barkley does this year? You tell me. Like, do they have the 5 or the 6 60-yard touchdowns?
They haven't been explosive, but their explosive guys have been hurt. Although Xavier Worthy, first-round receiver,
the teams are
explosive.
built different, though, Dan. And I disagree on the Hollywood Brown thing. I think receivers need to be receiving cores need to be right-sized. There are very few receivers who are number ones, true number ones to me, that can just line up and win. And when I think of a number one receiver, I think of a guy who can just go up there and say, hey, it's 3rd and 6. We have to throw a slant for a first down. Everybody knows you're getting it. It's one-on-one. Can that guy stop you? Or a go ball and in contested situations and 50-50 or whatever, more times than not you win. Like A.J. Brown to me, number one receiver. You cannot guard him one-on-one. Clear disadvantage. You will not win. It does not matter who is throwing the football. More times than not, he's going to win. Hollywood Brown being in the Baltimore Ravens as a number one, he was never a true number one to me. And there's a lot of receivers we can go down in. George Pickens is not a number one receiver to me. He's a number 2. Right?
Buffalo doesn't have a number 1, but I mean, I like Shakir too.
They're very similar to the receiving core for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Philadelphia's got a number 1. You can make an argument that Philadelphia's pretty close to having two number ones. Yep. And I really like McLaurin. I think he's better than anyone Kansas City has as a receiver. Agreed. Anyone.
Yep.
And now you're looking at a Kansas City team. You're arguing on behalf of them being one of the better receiving cores left, and they don't have a number 1. And the other teams seem to have a number 1.
Mahomes had a 54-yard touchdown pass to Xavier Worthy in Week 4 against the Chargers. It was their longest pass completion on a scoring play since 2022.
Aren't we making the same argument for different positions, right? What I'm saying is a great quarterback will make a system receiver into being pretty good, right? Into being a good, productive receiver. And you're saying a good receiver, A.J. Brown, can make a quarterback better like Jalen Hurts, because we see Jalen Hurts doesn't have the skill set as these other quarterbacks.
What I'm saying is I don't gauge how good a receiving core is based on how good your top guy is. Most teams that win the Super Bowl don't have solidified number 1s for a reason. Because the number 1 receiver should be the guy that's open. So when you look at the receiving core Josh Allen has, there's a reason why they are better this year than they were with Steph Diggs a year ago. Because he is not feeling forced or pressured into throwing to a guy because I have to get you touches. I have to get you the ball in this situation. And also, you hear the Amari Cooper interview from this week where he's like, I'm fine with my role. He's had 8 receptions in the last 5 weeks because it doesn't matter. If we need it, we'll get to it. Matt Hollins is not a guy that we should be a household name the way that he is. Josh Allen is not only elevated, he's playing his role within the receiving core the right way.
But you're extending to Worthy and Brown something that you're not extending, and Hopkins, to Amari Cooper when you make your assessment of the Buffalo receiving core. You're making Hopkins something that I don't think he still is. If you give me right now, who do I want right now? Hopkins or Cooper? Please give me Cooper. I want that.
When they traded for Cooper, I said it was the most impactful receiver trade of all of them. Devontae Adams, as well as DeAndre Hopkins, for the same reasons you said. What they needed in their role as a receiving core that they did not have was a true route runner who can beat man coverage. When that comes up, he has now the ability to get open. The first time the Bills played the Ravens, none of those guys could get open because they are not true route runners. They're not separators. They're not one-on-one. Let me create separation for my quarterback. The last time they played the Chiefs, Amari Cooper is the one with the balls down the field because he's running the routes to get open. He's also getting the go balls. And so when I'm talking about Amari Cooper versus DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not talking about Hopkins is the same DeAndre Hopkins that he's been at his height. I'm saying for what he's going to be asked to do with the Kansas City Chiefs, he can still operate that at a high level because he's the possession guy.
Let me get from you guys some commentary on this because you've heard me talking about for years. I have a hard time separating when you have team sports who's responsible for whose success in everything that we're talking about. I have always thought, since this run started, that the Denver Nuggets starting 5 is 5 players as strong a 5 as you can get. But when I dive into the numbers, they're terrible when Jokic isn't on the floor. They're unprecedented offensively when he is. And I really do wonder about what I'm about to say. So Cade Cunningham, I thought Izzy had more doubt about Cade Cunningham than there should be. He is the lead player on a 500 team, and just recently he had 2 consecutive games with double-digit turnovers, which is something that's never happened in the sport before. But he by himself has a team overachieving that is decent, but he's their clear number 1 usage rate player, and because of that, he's going to be in the All-Star because they're a 500 team. I wonder if I just put Jokic on the Pistons, whether they too would have the record that the Nuggets have. If I put Jokic on any team in the league, it makes me wonder, well, how good is that starting 5 really in Denver? Because Aaron Gordon wasn't this when he couldn't just dunk everything in Orlando. He became a very good 4th player, championship-worthy 4th player, when all of a sudden all he's getting is all these lobs at the rim. How good, actually, are Jokic's teammates?
If you think about Aaron Gordon, what he was supposed to be in Orlando, like you mentioned, and what he's sort of settled into as effectively, in my opinion, the best role player in the league, that's almost a gift, right? You're getting a guy who is supposed to be a star, and it's like, no, it's almost like Amari Cooper. I'm okay playing this role, and so he's an elite role player, right? The other guys that won a championship with it anyway, KCP is an elite defender in the perimeter and a really good shooter. So it was almost a great, perfect fit around Jokic. But I think what we're seeing now is that, he can adjust to whatever teammates he has. He and Russell Westbrook are making magic out there sometimes. And so, yes, if you put him on the Detroit Pistons, as long as there's some level of balance there, it's not just a bunch of Jalen Durans around him, then they will absolutely be top of the East.
The reason I asked the question is because Michael Jordan wasn't win 50, 60 games every year until he got a top 50 player by his side. He was somebody who would get to the playoffs and then end up losing to people who had better number 2s and number 3s, even though he was the one scoring 63 and boring Larry Bird was calling Michael Jordan God in the locker room after Jordan had lost in a playoff game. I really do wonder if I put Jokic on any team in the league, am I getting to 50 wins?
I think absolutely, and I think that's part of the gift, that's part of the brilliance of Jokic is he makes everybody else better. Whoever, like Cade Cunningham, I like him. He's, last year with bad teammates and a worse coach was not doing very well. That's where I formed that opinion on him. This year looks a lot better. Still has a bunch of turnovers, but he is not elevating everybody, right? There's actually just better players around him, Tobias Harris and whatnot. But I think with Nikola Jokic, he would make everybody around him better, and that's just something that is you can't really measure.
So Jalen Duran, Cade Cunningham, and Tobias Harris. Okay, I'm Googling who they play for.
Put it on the poll, please, at Lebitard Show. Are the Pistons Cade Cunningham, Tobias Harris, and whatnot?
Dan, I'm 39 years old. The only memories that I have of Michael Jordan are when he was winning. I don't remember the roadblocks. I needed the documentary to fill in those gaps. When he was losing to the Pistons, was Michael Jordan certifiably consensus the best player in the league?
Yes. Just a ball hog. Just viewed as a ball hog because he wasn't winning.
I mean, he changed the whole way people thought of the NBA. They thought you have to win with a big guy. Now you have to win with this. Now you can win with a guard. But I'm with Mike here. Like when he was losing to the Pistons, there was still that conversation of, he doesn't pass the ball. He can't be the best player in the league, right?
Total ball hog. That's what Michael Jordan got. He was getting crushed at every turn, and then he started winning all of the championships. But that's how it happened. We treated him really badly, but it was before social media. And so he couldn't win, even though there was a play where Lambeer cut his leg with a machete.
When did it turn? When did they start looking at Michael Jordan as the greatest? Like what year? When it was like, he's the best?
I think it was the first three-peat. Like the first three-peat where they're just like, wow, this is incredible. I don't think anybody's done this before. And it's a small guard doing it. Best player ever.
So 94?
Do you realize
I was 7.
How absurd it is to say the sentence, the first three-peat?
Folks, the playoff season is here, and the only thing better than the game day predictions are the foods that come with them. Introducing Tums Fantasy Food Ball Pool, Brought to you by Tums, America's #1 antacid brand, and DraftKings. Each week leading up to the big game, turn football into foodball by building your best game day plate for a shot at winning a share of $40,000 in cash prizes. Inspired by game day bites and tailgate treats, join the Tums foodball action during this playoff season's most heartburn-inducing times. Visit DraftKings.com/TumsFoodball between January 6th and February 9th to enter for free and select your game day plate before the start of each playoff round. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at DraftKings.com/TumsFoodball. When you feel the heat of the game, don't let the heartburn keep you on the sidelines. Try Tums Chewy Bites with a tasty outer shell and soft center for fast relief of heartburn, acid indigestion, and upset stomach. Check out Tums Gummy Bites, featuring a soft and easy-to-chew format for fast relief of occasional heartburn, acid indigestion, sour stomach, and upset stomach. Both available at Amazon, Target, and other major retailers nationwide. And for more heartburn relief fun, be sure to follow Tums at Tums Official on Instagram and TikTok.
Hey, Jeremy.
Yes, Mike?
Have you ever had a fireside conversation during a football Sunday during the winter?
Sure. We don't have a lot of fireplaces down here, but I've had the premise of it.
I wish I could, but it's South Florida. When it gets down to the 60s, we're like, we're bundled up, but certainly no fireplaces. Still too warm for that. But we do have our football Sundays. And one thing that always makes football Sundays good, and I know you've had plenty of experience in your life with this, Miller time.
Oh, yeah.
Miller Lite makes the winter better. It makes football Sundays better. It makes even hanging out around you better.
Thanks, Mike. That was kind.
I appreciate that. You're my friend. When I have a Miller Lite in my hand, pretty much everybody is my friend because we are like-minded. Because we like beer that actually tastes like beer. Oh, and now, the new year, it's the perfect time to have a Miller time. Miller Lite is brewed for taste. People out there, I want you to listen to me. And Jeremy, you too. Because you know, it hits you just different than other light beers. The original light beer since 1975, and still the very best one. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.